The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, May 9th, 2022 is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Here.
Councilmember Coons.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Marcano.
Present.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo. Councilmember Murillo. Councilmember Sundberg.
Here.
And Councilmember Zvonik.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Announcement of the call-in line information.
Mayor, are they announcing the call-in line? It doesn't sound like
The announcement for the call-in line, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if there's some technical difficulties. I'm trying to figure that out with them. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll then proceed. Invocation, a moment of silence. I'd like to have a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine who are suffering under aggression. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Executive session update. We held discussions on collective bargaining and incentive negotiations. Approval of the minutes for April 11th, 2022. Motion?
So moved.
Sorry.
Gardner.
Been moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by
Bergen.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve the minutes of April 11th, 2022. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, would the clerk please call the roll or call for the question on item number 6A?
Mayor Kaufman.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we need Councilmember Coombs, Lawson, Mayor Pro Tem Bergen, Councilmember Drinsky, and Councilmember Sundberg's vote.
Yes. 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 Yes.
The motion passes unanimously to approve the April 11th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Approval of the minutes for April 25th, 2022.
Mayor, motion to approve item 6B.
Moved by Councilmember Drinsky, seconded by
Bergen.
second by Mayor Pro Tem Bergen. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on item number 6B.
Mayor Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs and Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously to approve the April 25th, 2022 meeting minutes.
First proclamation is Children's Tumor Foundation. Is there anybody here to receive the proclamation? Whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation is observing May 17th, 2022 as World Neurofibromatosis NF Awareness Day. to educate the public about this rare genetic disorder, and whereas NF causes tumors to grow on nerves throughout the body, often affecting development of the brain, cardiovascular system, bones, and skin, and can lead to blindness, deafness, bone abnormalities, disfigurement, learning disabilities, disabling pain, and cancer. And whereas, although over 2 million people around the world are living with NF, 1 in every 3,000 births is diagnosed with NF, and it affects all populations, races, ethnicity, and genders. It is still is relatively unknown to the public, and whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation leads efforts to promote and financially sponsor world-class medical research, is leading the way through innovative and inventive approaches to scientific advancement and improve patient care, revamping systems to accelerate the path from discovery to treatment, works to improve access to quality patient care through its national NF clinic network, and provides family support through its information resources, youth programs, and community activities. And whereas much remains to be done in raising public awareness of NF to help promote early diagnosis, proper management and treatment, prevention of complications, and support for research. Now, therefore, I, Mike Kaufman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, in recognition of this important initiative, do hereby proclaim May 17, 2022 as World Neurofibromatosis NF Awareness Day. Thank you.
On behalf of the NF community here in Colorado, we thank you for recognizing this genetic condition and providing us with the proclamation. So thank you so much.
Older Aurorans Month. Is there anybody besides myself to receive that? Okay. All right. Whereas the month of May is hereby designated as Older Coloradans Month, and whereas in May we acknowledge and honor older Aurorans, all of whom are resilient and strong and play vital positive roles in our communities as family members, friends, mentors, volunteers, caregivers, civic leaders, and employees, and more. And whereas the City of Aurora established the Aurora Commission for Older Adults to advocate for this population and work with the city to ensure their equitable quality of life. And whereas the proclamation further supports the efforts of the City of Aurora to continue to address the housing, transportation, health, nutrition, legislation, and recreation needs of older Aurorans through advocacy and networking by the Aurora Commission for Older Adults. And whereas we move forward with celebrating the significance of our older Aurorans as they continue to be respected in every organization, business, and governmental entity related to growth, sustainability, business, and strategic and city plans. Now, therefore, I, Mike Kaufman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2022 as Older Aurorans Month. Okay.
To the mayor and city council members, we can't tell you how much this means to us to acknowledge publicly the value of older adults here in the city of Aurora. They are one of our largest growing populations, and we are here to advocate for their continued growth, development, and well-being. So thank you for this, Mayor.
Mental Health Awareness Month.
Mayor, real quick, while they're coming up, I just wanted to let you know that I'm hearing from constituents that the audio on the call is terrible. So,
Yes, they're working on it. Aurora TV in the back, Randy Simpson, they're trying to figure it out right now.
all right, great, thank you.
Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and every citizen and community can help in the stigma surrounding mental health, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, as all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, especially during the unprecedented pandemic that has impacted all of our lives with unique challenges, and whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and learning to recognize the symptoms of mental illness and seeking help when needed is critical, and whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health and other chronic health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. And whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. And whereas Mental Health Awareness Month is an opportunity to increase public understanding and the impact of mental health and to promote the identification of treatment of mental illness. Now, therefore, I, Mike Kaufman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, Colorado, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month. You all figure it out. Okay, there we go.
We want to thank you very much for this proclamation and all that City Council and Mayor does for Aurora Mental Health. And we're here to serve the community. And I know the community that I appreciate the most service to is to our schools. Because if you have a good foundation there, then that builds on what we can offer to our adults. Thank you. Thank you.
Last one, Armed Forces Day. Whereas for 246 years, American citizens have served in our armed forces and uniformed services defending the nation and preserving our democracy and freedoms. And whereas current and former members of our armed forces and uniformed services have sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, whereas current and former members of our armed forces and uniformed services have guaranteed their oath with their lives, liberty, and honor, and whereas the City of Aurora has a long history of recognizing the contributions of current and former members of the armed forces and uniformed services who have served in the city at Buckley Space Force Base, Fitzsimmons Army Medical Center, and in the Colorado National Guard and the reserve components of the uniformed services. Now, therefore, I, Mike Kaufman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do hereby proclaim May 21st, 2022 as Armed Forces Day.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much on behalf of the Veterans Affairs Commission and the veterans, the drilling guardsmen and reservists in the city, as well as retirees, the people at Buckley Air Force Base. We want to thank you for recognizing the contribution of the armed forces. And this is a special day of celebration that is nationwide and also here in the city. There will also be an Armed Forces recognition luncheon sponsored by the Aurora Chamber of Commerce's Defense Council, and an opportunity to recognize some really outstanding people that work at Buckley Space Force Base. I want to say Buckley Air Force Base, but it's really hard. So thank you very much, and we appreciate it.
Public invited to be heard.
Mayor, we do have individuals in person. Isamar Picardo, followed by Caitlin Bonilla.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
we didn't end up getting the call-in line announcement. Are we not able to, or?
They're still working on it, Councilmember Coombs. We're going to do the in-person, and hopefully they can get it all resolved by that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I start now? Okay. Hello, City Council members. My name is Isamar Pichardo. I'm a resident of Aurora, and I am here to speak on behalf of myself about the ecocide that is happening in Aurora. I have seen multiple prairie dog colonies get killed with gassing, and the last one, they were buried alive. The location I am speaking about is on Peoria Street between 11 and 13th Avenue, and according to the public records, the lot is owned by the Mountain Nebo Cemetery. It is currently under construction with a large prairie dog colony still occupying the premises and watching their home being destroyed. In a separate section of the land, there's a critical endangered kid fox family that I have seen living there, and a ferruginous hawk, which is considered a state special concern, that has been regularly seen hunting for prairie dogs at this location. It is clear to me that a vulnerable ecosystem was established here and that animals need to be immediately protected by a new municipal code. Can you imagine your home being destroyed, your family getting buried alive, and not having where to go with 3 to 4 newborns? That's exactly what this prairie dog colony is facing. We are in pup season, and that happens from April to May, and each mom gives birth to 3 to 4 pups. I am disappointed that Aurora doesn't have a regulation in place to protect wildlife. Prairie dogs should not be labeled as invasive rodent because they are in fact essential animals for restoring our environmental diversity. I do not support bulldozing, gassing, or poisoning them because there are inhuman methods, and those methods can also impact non-target species in the area like a fox and hawk I just mentioned. I would like for an ordinance to be set in place for humane management of prairie dogs in connection with development and be relocated when development is proposed. If the owner can pay for exterminator, they can pay for a relocation, but in this case, they chose the least expensive method to terrorize and kill them. I am willing to work with you to create an ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Council, we have all the audio fixed, so we're going to do the public call-in line if that's okay.
Mayor, I just have a request to receive contact information for the last speaker from staff.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Evening, sorry for the technical difficulties. City Council welcomes feedback from the public on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. If you would like to speak and have not already spoken to an operator, please press *3. For those watching on Channel 8, call 855-695-3475 and press *3 when connected. You will hear a prompt confirming you are in line to speak to an operator and then be able to continue listening to the meeting. When the operator comes on the line, please be ready to give them your name and the agenda item you wish to speak on. Keep in mind you must press *3 before the clerk reads the title of the item you wish to speak on. As a reminder, Council does not allow comments about any items on the agenda during public and invited to be heard, and each speaker is allowed 3 minutes, and the total time allocated for public invited to be heard is 1 hour. Thank you.
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en asuntos comparecientes a la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia pública. Por favor, llame al número de teléfono 877-820-7831 y al conectarse es el código 254610, seguido de la tecla de numeral. De ahí espera para hablar con la persona. Al llegar su turno, le interpretará su comentario en inglés. La operadora tomará su nombre y el asunto a presentar ante el Consejo y lo pondrá en espera. Las personas han de esperar el anuncio de invitación a la audiencia pública hasta que les sea su tiempo para el tema específicamente en la agenda de hoy, y al ser llamado por el funcionario encargado. Va a depender del volumen de llamadas para que se conecte a la operadora. Si usted está en la fila de llamadas al momento que se invita a escuchar al público, se lo colocará en espera para la última invitación para el comentario público. Finalmente, recuerde que el Consejo no permite comentarios en ninguno de los asuntos en la agenda durante la invitación para escuchar al público. Gracias.
Okay, Mayor, now we have Caitlin Bonilla, followed by Andrea.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and staff. My name is Caitlin, and I live in Aurora. I am also a freshman at Aurora Central High School. I've come here with my class to touch on the subject of affordable housing. We have spoken with Councilmember Crystal Murillo and Housing and Community Development Manager Alicia Montoya. Our main takeaway during both discussions was that the City of Aurora needs and plans to make affordable housing into something much more available. But the biggest obstacle is that the city doesn't have the money needed to make it possible. Through our research, we learned that implementing a plan of action in order to gather the necessary funds needed to make affordable housing more accessible in Aurora would be the best solution. This would be of great help to resolve the difficulties surrounding affordable housing in Aurora, as well as other problems such as gentrification and homelessness. City Council has already expressed that they have a plan in place to solve Aurora's housing crisis, but do not have the financial means to do so. We asked the City Council to do two things: focus on creating local funds and reach out to developers in Aurora for financial support. Thank you for your time and for considering the proposal.
Mayor, could I get the speaker's contact information, please?
Yeah, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. We have Andrea, followed by Fatima.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and staff. My name is Andrea, and I live in Aurora, Colorado. I am a student at Aurora Central High School. I've come here to talk about affordable housing. Access to affordable housing is important because many people do not have the resources to have their own comfortable home. We learn in the exhibit Without a Home in Aurora that many people live on the street or in the cars. We have spoken with Councilmember Crystal and learned owning your home housing is very important, but many do not have the resources. Housing affects our school because many students at Aurora Central High School do not have a house and end up in three families live together in a single apartment. Throughout our research, we learned that we do not have a law in place to control what type of housing developers are building. We need a law that requires mixed income development. We need a fund to pay developers to build mixed housing. Mixed housing prevents segregation and modern-day redlining. We need local general funds. We need taxes that come from the community. Housing is a basic right. We need to provide general funds for housing. We have control over how the money is used, not what the national government thinks we should do. This would be the best solution. This would solve the problem for many families who do not have a secure home. I ask that the City Council considers our ideas. Thank you for your time.
Katie, do we have the contact information for the speakers?
We do, yes.
Okay, Councilmember Coombs requested the speaker on the prairie dogs, and then Councilmember Mercano on affordable housing.
Okay, thank you. We have Fatima, followed by Kevin.
Hello, my name is Fatima Flores Suyo. I am in Aurora. I am a student at Aurora Central High School. I have come raised to talk how I download housing. I for download housing is important because I can help low income resident save money. I hate better health improved. I read critical community service with I spoke with Crystal Murillo. I learned that city council had constructed a plan. I asked ready to talk step to remedy the used Rosudit. I for download Horwin through all research were that made used Horwin is important to process equitable outcome with need to ensure the value created for the auction away. Thank you for your team. Thank you for every hour for tablet or going appeal for sevens.
Okay, we have Kevin, followed by Catherine.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and staff. My name is Kevin Bryant, and I live in Aurora. I am a student at Aurora Central High School. I come here to talk about affordable housing. Affordable housing is important because affordable housing reduces stress, toxins, and infectious disease, which leads to improvement in both physical and mental health. In a student survey we conducted, we found that students care a lot about affordable housing. Lack of affordable housing can increase their mental health problems and limit their ability to regulate family activities. We found that the average rent spent was $1,400 a month. Affordable housing located near public mass transit can help low-income residents save money, access better jobs, and improve health and reach critical community services. Through our research, we learned that funding the strategic housing plan would be the best solution. We need to fund land purchases, transportation, and permits through local taxes. Thank you for your time.
Catherine, followed by Genesai.
Hi, my name is Catherine Velasquez. I am a student from Aurora Central High School, and I am here to share this with y'all about affordable housing in Aurora. Affordable housing is important because there will be more economic issues in the future, and we need secure housing. In our research, we found that students care a lot about affordable housing. Affordable housing contributes to significant economic growth, including in local purchasing power and increased job opportunities. We did not fund to pay developers to build mixed housing. We need laws to make sure our people in Aurora are able to stay and thrive here. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Genesai, followed by Jacqueline.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members and staff. My name is Genesis Ramirez and I live in Aurora, Colorado. I am a student at Aurora Central High School. I've come here to talk about affordable housing. Affordable housing is important because it is expensive to live in this city. We have spoken with City Council member Crystal Murillo and learned that her and the City Council are working on the affordable housing issue. Housing affects our school because the more expensive it gets, the less people stay in our high school. Housing affects equity in Aurora because other cities will have way better schooling and opportunities. We would like you to find affordable housing. Thank you for your time.
Jacqueline, followed by Antonia.
Good evening, council members, mayor, and staff. I'm a citizen of the city of Aurora. My name is Jay Bello. I am here today to bring your awareness to an important issue that I and other community members have recently come to face that has left an unbearable negative impact on our residency here. A massive corridor of the original Aurora area within Ward 1 has seen rapid commercial and residential developments, notably for Fitzsimmons projects. I live local to the University Hospital Medical Campus, and I am regularly immersed in the reminders of the density of Aurora, and I often seek to escape to the natural environment that surrounds us here in Colorado. Being a citizen who cannot always afford to travel for recreation, I find solace in connecting with the natural spaces and wildlife within my urban neighborhood, but it has become alarming to me the rate at which they are disappearing. A very large area local to me used to be the home of what looked like a large black-tailed prairie dog colony that had been there for many years. I would often park and watch them to ease my mind from regular worries and came to love to see them in their natural environment. Being interested in the wildlife, I have learned so much about them, including information that clears up common misconceptions and preconceived notions. The state of Colorado lists black-tailed prairie dogs as pests and has done a number on the population native to West America through unethical eradication efforts since the early 1900s. This makes me angry. Since Colorado is a state that emphasizes the value of science and nature, I did my own research, and the science shows that black-tailed prairie dogs are in fact beneficial to our environment, especially urban environments. Prairie dogs are ecological engineers and architects and have been identified as a keystone species to our prairie ecosystems, which is one of the most endangered ecosystems in the world. The conservation of prairie dogs is crucial because they help hundreds of wild populations maintain their resiliency in society, including coyotes, the endangered fox, badgers, raptors, including our national bird, the bald eagle, burrowing owls, and the nearly extinct black-footed ferret. Research has found that within city limits, prairie dog islands are beneficial because a few acres of open land creates a wildlife hotspot where predators are able to have a sustainable food source instead of seeking local neighborhood pets. Allowing prairie dogs to live in rural areas has also been observed to have positive effects on the environment and farming areas because they construct complex underground tunnels that enrich the soil with nutrients, allowing more flowering plants to grow. Considering this, it has been very painful for me to cope with watching new developments disregard prairie dogs and other wildlife, destroying them along with the last natural habitats within the resilient heart of Aurora. My concern has brought me here to ask that the Aurora City Council introduce an ordinance that enforces a good faith effort to be made to relocate native wildlife in developing areas in an effort to recognize prairie dogs as the beneficial animal that they are and to work towards placing more emphasis on conserving the natural environment that we have left. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today, and I thank you, Council, for your time.
Antonia, followed by Arthur.
Hello, council members. My name is Tony Lopez, and I'm an Arapahoe County resident with loved ones who reside in the city of Aurora. I'm here today to call on all of you to prove your commitment to social and environmental justice by asking you to support a new ordinance to protect prairie dogs and wildlife in the community's code. This proposal would ensure that developers do not destroy habitats without humane methods of management of threatened or endangered populations, such as prairie dogs, ferrets, foxes, coyotes, raptors, and so on. I'm a Midwesterner who moved to Colorado with hopes to become more connected to nature and wildlife because there was not so much of that where I was from. While living here, I fell in love with a prairie dog colony in an area I frequent near a university hospital because I had never seen these kind of animals before. One of my favorite things I learned about them is that they have one of the most sophisticated languages out there, which is characterized by their yipping. In fact, they could even communicate with their relatives if a tall human wearing purple or a short human in blue was approaching. Knowing the smart and amazing characteristics of these animals, I was emotionally traumatized over the last month witnessing their only home being destroyed by an Aurora housing development in the Fitzsimmons area. I can only imagine what they were saying as I listened to them screaming to each other for help, looking over the rubble, trying to dig their families out. I empathize with these animals dearly because I also feel like them in a way, being a low-income resident that may be soon pushed out of my own town due to the rising cost of living. I want to express how upset I am that at the state level, these precious animals are considered pests when they pose no harm to humans and are beneficial for building healthy ecosystems. But the city of Aurora can be better than that by conserving more land and not putting profit over the well-being of their citizens and wildlife. I and other members of Aurora are asking that you please consider an ordinance like the city of Parker has done that enforces a good faith effort to protect our wildlife. Please recognize prairie dogs as an animal because the species deserves ethical treatment. Thank you so much for your time.
Arthur, followed by Aaron.
Hello, I'm Arthur Acosta. I live in Sable Ridge, which is over by Mississippi in 225. If you're familiar with that area, then you know that Burlington Coat Factory now goes by Burlington. That entire building there has a fence, 8-foot fence behind it that separates it from us in Sable Ridge. Also an HOA on the next block over. And they have now proposed that they're going to replace that 8-foot fence with a 6-foot fence, which I find totally unacceptable. Right now, with an 8-foot fence, I'm still getting jumpers who don't have a problem with an 8-foot fence jumping it and trespassing through my property. They've jumped that fence so often that they've weakened it to the point where a section of it has already fallen down. That's what prompted them now to want to replace the entire thing with a 6-foot fence, which I find ridiculous because they've got the money to spend for an 8-foot fence, but they claim, no, we don't. We're even going to ask the HOA next door to see if they can pay for a portion of that, which is insane. 6-foot fence is going to be a welcome to all the vagrants that we have on the other side of that fence. If you know that area, you know behind that building you have drug addicts, you have homeless, you have thieves. I've had stolen items with the security stuff that keeps it secure thrown over my fence. I don't know, I'm surprised I haven't found a dead body back there sometime. I do regular drive-throughs there just to keep track of the trash that's being always thrown, coming out of their dumpsters, which they never can control. I've been complaining about this issue to code enforcement since 2017. It only became a problem then. I've lived there since 2000. And all of a sudden now, since 2017, I got trash in my backyard all the time, especially on these windy days we've been having. It's a regular thing for me to have to go out there and gather up a bag full of plastic trash. I've talked to the managers in these buildings, and I've gotten no response. I've talked to code enforcement repeatedly. It does no good. All they do is cite them and this and that. And unless you find these people, they're never going to stop. So that's all the reason I came here for, was just to complain about this ongoing issue, which is only getting worse now, which I know is going to get much worse now with their 6-foot fence, which they're going to put in place in 6 to 8 weeks. And all I can think of now is now I got to go through the expense of getting a home security system again. I used to have one years ago, but then I stopped. And now I'm going to have to get one again because I'm going to have regular people jumping that fence trying to see who they can burgle next. So yeah, I had a next-door neighbor a few years ago that got burglarized. She came home from work and came in, and there was a burglar right in her place, stealing jewelry and stuff. And luckily, she came through that safe. But this is what we all have to look forward to now with this 6-foot fence, which is ridiculous for them to think that they can't afford to replace that with an 8-foot fence that was there for going on 40 years.
Arthur, you've reached your 3 minutes.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Is that it? I'm fine. I've said it all.
Mayor, may I say something? Would you maybe see the gentleman at that desk and he can get your information?
Which one?
Jason?
You? Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's all I had to say.
Mayor, this is in Ward 4, so I'd like to be included in that.
Councilman O'Connell.
Okay, Aaron?
Katie, please forward that contact information to me as well.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I did not expect to be back here so soon. So I appreciate your time and everything that you guys do for Aurora. I'm back here because, to my surprise, last week I was watching the study session when Council Member Sundberg mentioned a social media post that I had done as a member of the Human Relations Commission. That post was my own individual opinion about him and Councilwoman Jurinsky being out of touch. It was a general statement, as they had on social media had called the town center of Aurora, or the Aurora Mall. It was a general statement. There was nothing offensive about it, but Mr. Sundberg took it as offensive. I have been nothing but respectful and polite in all my interactions with all council members, and so it took me back a little bit, because to me that's disinformation, saying I was disrespectful, and then the subtle jab that my own personal opinion can get me removed from the commission. So that's why I'm here to speak, to clarify that it was my own personal opinion, not the opinion of the Human Relations Commission. And I would invite any one of you guys, the first Wednesday of every month, to come and check out the Human Relations Commission and see what we actually do. Mr. Sundberg mentioned that he had no idea what the Human Relations Commission did or was until 5 minutes before, where he looked at our mission statement. We promote equality among all Aurorans, whether it's job, whether it's school, whether it's just all spectrums. I was paying attention to the study session because right now a lot of the constituents that reach out to the Human Relations Commission are concerned about homelessness. So I was paying attention to the study session as requested by the chair. So the subtle jab at myself because of this comment that I made on social media honestly took me aback, especially since one of the things that I did say is I absolutely love Aurora, and I would love to see like a podcast or something be done where we focus on the marginalized communities and what they're doing and the positivity that they're doing and bringing to the city of Aurora. All I was trying to do was say a general statement, and it just kind of blew up. And I'm tired of the disinformation. I thank you for your time. And one more thing, I appreciate everything that you guys do, but the one thing that really, really bugs me, and I see the passion between every single one of you guys, even if you guys disagree, is when Councilmember Jurinsky says She's upset that she doesn't see any contracts coming in from the city of Aurora. I appreciate that, but your own businesses are registered in Denver. So if you love Aurora, practice it.
Mayor, I would like to respond to that, please.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Aaron, please, I would like to speak with you.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to have a discussion right now.
Okay.
You can address your remarks in when we go into reports. Thank you very much.
Mayor, we do have one individual on the public call-in line.
3 minutes, go ahead.
My name is Arnie Schultz, and I live in Aurora. On April 27th, I emailed all of you saying I happened upon the attached series of postings on Nextdoor that were written by the unhoused that began only a few days ago. I would appreciate it if you would take the time to open the attachment and to read it all the way through and then share your comments with me, thanking you in advance. I didn't have to hear back from the mayor, any of the Republicans, or the unaffiliated members of council. So let me read just a few excerpts written by the unhoused. I am sharing bits of my story to help you all understand that not all homeless people are druggies, nor are they all bums. I work day labor while homeless through People Ready, 5280 day labor, People Works, even took side jobs like washing windows, all just to keep food in my belly, be able to wash clothes, and possibly even get inside a motel room to not smell like shit. I had applied for multiple housing resources, only to be told my Social Security income was which was less than $900 a month, was not enough, or that I did not qualify for the housing voucher because my income was too much. My abusive ex, who cheated on me during both of my pregnancies and kicked me out of my own apartment twice for his gold-digging exes. I had not only lost my apartment due to him not paying rent, I lost my job as it was hard to stay clean and be a hostess at the same time. It's even harder when you have an eviction due to someone's negligence, as you have to wait at least 10 years before you get an apartment or any long-term housing. Still, I know most won't understand or believe this unless they went through it themselves. So, have any of you been by the encampment at East Mississippi in I-225 since it was swept over a week ago? This is the first such site I have seen. A lot of your constituents complained about the appearance of the encampments when occupied. I will email you photos that I took today, which shows that the unhoused are back as of today, and that some of the belongings were set up along the sidewalk and the median when the encampment was swept still remain. For all I know, it's a permanent eyesore. I request that someone on staff gets back to me regarding this. And as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of other people are concerned, this entire camping ban is nothing but a political stunt to appeal to your base. Thank you.
That is all for public invited to be heard.
Adoption of the agenda.
Mayor, motion to adopt the agenda.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Sundberg to adopt for the adoption of the agenda. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, the question before us is the adoption of the agenda. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson and Murillo.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm not seeing the voting pop up on eScribe, so I will try to update or reboot it.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes unanimously to adopt the agenda.
Next item before us is the adoption of the consent calendar.
Mayor.
Motion to
Items
approve
number
items
8 through
10A through 10A through 10T.
And second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Gardner, second by Mayor Pro Tem, to approve the consent calendar, item number 10A through 10T. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Jurenski.
Yeah, sure. I would really like to bring up that I appreciate city staff in this instance approving one contract for a company in the city of Aurora out of 20 contracts. I really appreciate being heard. I furthermore would like to point out that of all of the companies that I own, one is in Sheridan, one is in Inglewood, and 4 are in Aurora, all registered in
Councilmember
Aurora.
Jurenski, that is not germane to the topic before us. Question, is there further discussion on the adoption of the consent calendar? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar, item number A through 10. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
It'd be yes. I'm trying to log in, and I don't see the.
Okay. Councilmember Coombs.
Yeah, I'll be a yes as well. I'm having issues with e-scribe, so I might have to voice vote.
Okay. The motion passes unanimously to approve the consent calendar.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11A?
Item 11A is Resolution 2022-89, consideration to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado for the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado, Department of Transportation for the Westerly Creek Trail to Tollgate Creek Trail Connector Improvement Project.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. I'll give a brief introduction. The Westerly Tollgate Creek Bike Connections Trail Connection Project to Florida Station was a Dr. Cog TIP project in the previous cycle, the 2016 to 2019 cycle. The project was substantially completed in summer of 2020. And the contract is still open to utilize the federal funds available through the grant in order to reach vegetative establishment. And so the amendment before you this evening is to extend the expiration on that IGA to keep the contract open and to establish the vegetation. There's also one small scope change in the amendment, and that is to remove some bike racks that were originally planned to be put in at Florida Station. Despite some efforts with RTD for the placement of actually bike lockers because they didn't want the bike racks, we were unable to find a feasible location to put those racks within the project limits that were allowed with the federal funding. And so Dr. Cog actually recommended that we just remove that small piece of scope so that we could close out the project. And so those are the two things in the IGA amendment for your consideration this evening.
Questions of staff?
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Matt, is there going to be an effort to find a spot for racks outside of the scope of this specific grant? Or are we kind of giving up on that?
Yes, sir. So there are actually the Park Aurora folks are working with RTD to find an appropriate location for bike lockers at, they don't really use racks anymore.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yep, no, that's fair. But yes, sir, the answer to that question is yes.
All right, great, thank you.
Motion is in order. Further questions of staff? Seeing none, the motion is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve 11A.
Moved by Councilmember McConnell, seconded by
Mayor? Councilmember Coombs.
second by Councilmember Coombs. Discussion?
Jurenski.
Councilmember Jurenski.
Yes, since I do not own one business in Denver, I find this very
Councilmember Jurenski, when you do the reports at the end of the meeting, that's when you can address this.
Oh.
This is not germane to this issue.
Oh, okay. Very important for Aurora.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of number 11A. Item number 11A, call for the question.
Councilmember Gardner.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously to approve Resolution 2022-89.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11B?
Item 11B is Resolution 2022-90, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving the IGA between the City of Aurora, Colorado and Arapahoe County, Colorado for the collection of open space sales and use tax shareback funds.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Jeff Edwards. I'm the interim manager of tax for the City of Aurora. Resolution before you is for the consideration to approve an intergovernmental agreement for the shareback funds for the Arapahoe County open space sales and use tax. This is a shareback of funds that has been authorized through previous intergovernmental agreements, with the most recent approval by voters last year in 2021. This was an extension of the tax indefinitely, so it requires a new intergovernmental agreement for the shareback of these funds.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve 11B.
It's moved by Councilmember O'Connell, seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 11B. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I just want to thank the voters of Arapahoe County and Aurora for approving the indefinite extension. I think we see a tremendous amount of benefit from this funding source for our city, and I'm excited to know that it's going to be available in perpetuity. I think it's going to really help Arapahoe County and us in the future with further park development, since this is now a steady stream of revenue going forward. So thank you.
Further discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Sandberg.
I was curious about the revenue projected in 2022.
Yeah, so it's projected to be just under $11 million.
Great, thank you.
Excuse me, and what portion goes to the City of Aurora?
Oh, that is the shareback funds that will be received by the City of Aurora. That's the budgeted
Okay,
funds.
that's the amount. Very well. Further questions of staff or discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on item number 11B.
The motion passes unanimously to approve Resolution 2022-90.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 11C.
Item 11C is Resolution 2022-91, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, consenting to the consolidation of Talon's Reach Metropolitan Districts number 2 and 3.
Mayor.
Brief presentation by staff.
The Talon's Reach Metropolitan Districts numbers 2 and 3 are requesting written approval from the city to enable the districts to move forward with a November election for consolidation. The city is not approving the consolidation, only providing approval for the districts to further their process.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, motion to approve 11C. I live in Towns Reach.
It's been moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 11C. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11C. Call for the question.
The item passes unanimously to adopt Resolution 2022-91.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 11D?
Item 11D is Resolution 2022-92, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's approval of a policy addressing the storage of personal property removed from an abated unauthorized camp.
Brief presentation by staff.
Based on council's discussion last week at the study session, a policy's been drafted addressing the storage of personal property from camps that we abate. City will look for personal documents and identifications at any camp that is present, and according to Mr. Dorsheimer, those documents will be stored at the Aurora Day Resource Center. People that also desire to go to and receive the services, outreach services, they'll store their property with the Aurora Day Resource Center. So the policy addresses that for your consideration.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of, motion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Zavonic.
Motion to approve item 11D.
It's been moved by Councilmember Zavonic, seconded by
Murillo.
Councilmember Murillo. Discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thank you. I mean, I have pushed for us to address the storage of folks' personal belongings through the camping ban, you know, as a way to mitigate the harmful impacts of the ban. This is not the, you know, the most comprehensive way to address storage, but given the conversation at the last meeting, I think that a policy is better than no policy. So I'm glad to see that, you know, we are taking the direction to at least start to have those conversations and consideration of storage of people's belongings where we did not do so prior. So I just want to say there's more work to be done. This could be written in a way that, you know, is more humane and that honors the fact that, you know, we're taking potentially everything that people own in this world. But again, I think a policy is better than no policy.
Further discussion. Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11D. Call for the question.
The motion passes unanimously to approve Resolution 2022-92.
Announcement of the call-in line. Council will stand in recess for 5 minutes. The time is now 7:32. We will reconvene in 7:37. Council is in recess.
Members of the public who would like to speak on an ordinance and have not already spoken to the operator, press star 3 before the item is called by the clerk. For those watching on Channel 8, call 855-695-3475 to be connected, and then press star 3, as the mayor noted. Council is taking a short break to allow additional speakers to sign up. Please be patient and stay on the line until the operator is able to take down your information. Thank you.
Council is now back in session. Will the clerk now please read the title of item number 13A?
Item 13A is Resolution 2022-93, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving the first amended and restated service plan for Aurora Crossroads Metropolitan District Number 3 and authorizing the execution of an IGA between the City of Aurora, Colorado and the district.
Brief presentation by staff.
The Aurora Crossroads Metropolitan District Number 3 is seeking to bifurcate the original service plan in order to better serve the development needs of the property located within its boundaries. There are no residents residing within or owning property in the district as it's being developed for commercial purposes. District 3 has received no proceeds from the debt that was issued for District 2 in 2020. The three districts together were originally intended to serve one coordinated need, but a different builder is in the process of purchasing the property in District 3 and no longer needs coordinated services among the districts.
Questions of staff?
Mr. Mayor, this will need to be a public hearing, if you could open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. A public hearing is now open. We've just had a presentation by staff, presentation by the applicant.
There's no presentation. We have their legal counsel on the call-in line if there's any questions.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard?
No.
Questions of the applicant? Questions of staff or the applicant? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. The motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve item 13A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by
Zavonic.
Councilmember Zavonic to approve item number 13A. Discussion? Seeing none, I call for the question on item number 13A.
Councilmember Drinsky. The motion passes unanimously to approve Resolution 2022-93.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 14A?
Item 14A is introduction of ordinance 2022-25, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending Chapter 102, Sections 137, 138, 140, and 323 of the City Code to clarify retirement plan eligibility for the General Employees Retirement Plan and for the money purchase plan for executive personnel.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening. This item eliminates the option that currently exists for city employees to move between pension plans. And this item is also necessary in order for the city to be in compliance with the IRS and to avoid penalties with taxation when employees move between pension plans that have differing employer contribution rates, like GERP and IRP. The IRS only allows movement between plans when the contribution rates are the same. This wouldn't affect current employees, but when the city will hire new employees from the outside, and those employees are eligible to be in the executive plan, they will have to go into the executive plan. They won't have a choice to go into GERP. So this, again, is necessary to be in compliance with the IRS. Council did request that staff look at some options for future plan changes to offer more choice to employees. So staff will do that research, and then we'll come back to council at a later date with some options for you to consider.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 14A.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by
Mayor?
seconded by Councilmember Crooms to approve item number 14A. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on item number 14A.
The motion passes unanimously to approve ordinance 2022-25.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 14B.
Item 14B is introduction of ordinance 2022-26, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending Section 2672 of the City Code pertaining to authority to award contracts by removing in its entirety subsection C, requiring council authorization of requested procurements from enumerated programs.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor. The sponsor of this was Councilwoman Jurinski. There is no other staff on this. I did draft this at the behest of the Councilwoman. In July of 2020, subsection C was added to Section 2-672. That was done at the behest of Councilmember Gardner. At the time, there was some question whether council had sufficient oversight of procurements that the police department was getting potentially from the military. The military being the biggest purchaser of items throughout the country. They have a wealth of surplus: socks, hats, desks, computer terminals, weapon systems, javelin missiles, nuclear weapons, who knows what they have. But the point was, perhaps there ought to be council oversight of procurements from the military. And this oversight was put in. Since that time, no procurement from the military was done by the police department until February of this year, where we were looking for some tires to be donated for a vehicle we have. Those tires fell under the monitored procurements that council has a right to do under that ordinance. A resolution was drafted, it was presented to council, and that procurement did go through. The question came up at that time whether that process of drafting a resolution, presenting to council, could create enough of a delay that we might lose procurement opportunities. And the answer at that time was, that is certainly possible. The question also came up, why do we have this when it's been around for 18 months and this is the first time we've seen this? Don't know that there was an answer to that. Then the question arose, if we didn't have that, is there any oversight of those procurements other than, of course, the police department has a natural desire to keep council apprised of what they're doing? And the answer is yes. Those military programs, they're pretty careful about monitoring their weapons, their munition systems. If they happen to donate that to a police department, those never become the property of a police department. They become subject to our use, and they're always audited. Where are they? Can we account for them? What condition are they in? And when we're done using them, we have to return them to the military. So the council member presents the question, is this needed? And this ordinance suggests that it's possible to remove that. We're removing something that we've had for not quite 2 years.
Questions to staff?
Mayor.
Councilmember Gardner.
Can you explain what type of items still require local government approval under the 1033 program?
Yeah, if it's munitions, if it could be classified as a weapons system, the federal government requires that there be auditing of those programs. They don't necessarily give those out very easily, so we still have that. Can I define for you what are munitions or a weapon system other than your common perception of what those likely are? Probably not as accurately as I would like. There are some items that might escape your common perception or mine. For instance, I know 6 years ago the police department and the park rangers were looking at an amphibious vehicle for ice rescue out at Aurora Reservoir. And the classification of that was as at a weapon system. Though it did not fire anything, it did not pulse anything, it was just an amphibious vehicle. So the military tends to be quite careful they overclassify rather than underclassify.
Okay, that's fine, but what I'm asking is.
I'm sorry.
Because on the 1033 program website, it specifically says, as part of the application process, law enforcement agencies must receive approval from their relevant local governing body to request and obtain controlled property, which is required by 10 U.S. Code 257.6a. Per statute, law enforcement agencies must certify they have obtained the authorization of the relevant local governing authority, city council, mayor, et cetera.
Yes, it does. And yes, the police department can still, whether or not there is this ordinance, can still seek that resolution, seek help drafting that from the city attorney's office, have it scheduled and bring that forward if there's an item that they desire where they need that resolution and approval. Whether or not we have an ordinance demanding it, since we must get past that hurdle with the federal government, we would still bring that forward.
So either way, to procure items under this program, controlled items, they would still need council approval?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of staff? Seeing none, a motion is in order. Councilmember Jurenski. Councilmember Jurenski. Been moved by Councilmember Jurenski, seconded by
Zvonik.
Councilmember Zvonik to approve item number 14B. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, question before us is the adoption of item number 14B. Call for the question on the adoption of item number 14B.
Councilmember Murillo. The motion passes unanimously to approve ordinance 2022-26.
Call, clerk, now please read. Oh, okay. So as I understand it, Katie, item number 15A, 15B, 15C were approved initially unanimously. Am I correct?
Yes.
So they can be taken together.
Yes.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
motion to approve 15A through C.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by. Seconded by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 15A through 15C. Discussion? Seeing none, a call for the question on the adoption of item number 15A through 15C.
The motion passes unanimously to approve items 15A, B, and C.
Will clerk now please read the title of item number 19A?
Item 19A is council appointee court administrator selection and appointment.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Ryan Lance, Director of Human Resources. We did select an executive recruiting firm, Afion Public, to manage the council appointee selection of the court administrator position. So after a comprehensive nationwide search, it was narrowed down to 8 top candidates, and then from there it was narrowed down to 3 finalists. Those finalists were announced publicly on the city website, and those 3 finalists are Candace Atkinson, Jake Madrano, and Denise Parker. So the next steps for the city council is to vote to appoint one of the finalists tonight, and then after that, staff will negotiate contract, and then on May 23rd, city council can approve contract and then swear in the new court administrator.
Nomination is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember Gardner.
I move to appoint Denise Parker as the court administrator.
There's a second. Moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Marcano. Discussion?
Can I make a substitute motion?
Yes. Councilmember Jurenski and then Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, I'd like to appoint Candace Atkinson.
I just have a question. That's the person from Westminster?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very well. Okay. It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Zvonik.
Councilmember Zvonik to appoint, is Candace?
Candace Atkinson.
Atkinson. Discussion?
Mayor.
That is a substitute motion.
Yes.
Very well. Discussion on the substitute motion.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to say that we had tremendous candidates all around. I think we would be well served with any of these three. I think it's council, I think we kind of came to a compromise, if we will, between our favorites. I think Candace, although I did second the nomination for Denise, I think Candace would also serve the city well. So.
Very well. Further discussion on the substitute motion? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of the Mayor Pro Tem Bergen substitute motion. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes with 9 yes votes, 2 no votes from Councilmember Medina and Councilmember Murillo to appoint Candace Atkinson to the court administrator.
Clerk, now please read the title item number 19B.
Item 19B is consideration to appoint 1 member to the Human Relations Commission.
Motion.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
motion to appoint Erica Ponder?
It's been moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Lawson. Discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Drinsky.
I guess my question is for Katie. Are there other openings for this commission?
Let me look into that really quick for you, Councilmember.
Well,
Further discussion.
Mayor.
Sorry, Councilmember Coombs.
Yeah, last I saw, I think there were like 5 or 6 openings on that commission. So pretty sure there are others.
Further discussion.
Mayor.
Sorry, Councilmember Drinsky.
So I would like to appoint 2 people to this committee.
Kind of lost.
Mayor. Point of order.
There's only one position at this time.
Then I would like to make a substitute motion.
Very well.
Devon Austin is here with us tonight, and he went through the interview process for this committee. And he was, well, there's more to it with him that happened with him with one of the current members of that commission, but I would like to appoint Devon Austin to the Human Relations Commission.
Very well. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
It has been seconded by Councilmember Zvonek. Discussion on the substitute motion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
So I thought we had asked previously to receive all the applications for all appointee or all applicants when we do appointments for boards and commissions, and we only have the information for Erica in our backup.
Katie.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, we can start including every single application for the previous year. I believe that the commissions are giving the applications of who they're recommending. So there was one for Devon Austin, and then also Erica Ponder.
There's not a problem.
Mayor.
Okay, very well. Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So I would like to see if there's an opportunity to get to know a little more about Devon, while also moving forward staff's recommendations. Since there's multiple openings, I don't see why we couldn't appoint both. But this is also kind of unorthodox, as I think we usually have backup to look at beforehand. So I'm sure they're a great candidate, and I like that they're here tonight. But I just want to know a little more about the individual before we move them forward.
Mayor.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Well, you know, if it would have been included, if we would have gotten all applications, and if another member of the commission wouldn't have basically tried to blackball him, I think you would have had a chance to get to know him, and it's something that he really wants, and I think it's my prerogative to appoint who I want as well, and it's very unfortunate that his information wasn't given to us. I agree, but here we are, and I'm appointing Devon Austin.
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
I definitely support looking at the application and appointing when we have the application. I just don't think that makes sense to not even look at someone's application and just appoint them. So again, moving forward, I really would like us to have every application in the backup for all our boards and commissions so that if this type of thing comes up, then we have the information necessary. But for right now, I'm not going to support the appointment, not because, well, actually, so I do have a question for the city attorney. If we don't support this motion right now, does that prevent us from doing it later, given if something's been voted down, we can't vote on it again for 6 months?
No, it doesn't. You also may want to consider a motion to continue this particular item until the next meeting when you have the information.
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
I'd like to make a substitute motion to continue the appointment of Devon to the next city council meeting.
Substitute to a substitute.
There's already a substitute.
So it's just a motion to continue.
Apologies.
Motion to continue. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion to continue?
Mayor? Oh, I'll go ahead because you're coughing. I don't see a reason to continue it. I think, if he's a resident of the city of Aurora, I'm fine with having him appointed, and then we can also appoint the other candidate as well. I mean, there's 5 openings.
Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Lawson.
I want to see is it allowed if Devon just comes up and just tells why he's interested in the commission? Is it okay for Devon to come up in front of the council and just say why he's interested in the commission? It's not an interview, Mayor. It's just, I'm as a person who's deciding to vote to have him, I am interested just to see why he's interested in the commission. And I think that should be allowed. Mayor, what is 1 minute to allow Devon to come up and just say why he's interested in the commission?
Okay.
Come up, Devon. And I'm not interviewing you. I just want to see why you're interested in the commission.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Devon Austin. I've been in Aurora now for about a couple years. I have a background in criminal justice in undergrad, first major law enforcement, second major public administration. My master's is in public administration, and I also have a Juris Doctorate to practice law as an attorney. I'm interested in working with the people of Aurora to bridge the connection with the minority community, also the LGBTQ community specifically, to just bring my experience. I've worked with Native people. I went to 4 colleges in Alaska, Texas, New Mexico, and Rhode Island, and took internships throughout the country. So I think that my background can really serve the community of Aurora because we are culturally diverse and rich, and I want to work with each of you. I look forward to working each of you to do that.
Okay, thank you very much, Devon. I appreciate that.
So the motion on the floor is the continuance.
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
I'll withdraw the motion to continue and make a substitute motion to appoint both Erica and Devon.
Can we do that even though it's not on the agenda, it says 1?
So you can do that, but you can't have a second substitute motion. You can only have one
Right.
substitute. Separate.
You
Point of
can go
order.
to the,
Sorry. Discussion. To the
sponsor of the substitute motion, Councilmember Jurinski, if she would agree.
So if I withdraw, or if I...
Or I could amend the substitute motion to include
Well, she has
Erica?
to-
A friendly
it has to be a friendly
I'll take a
amendment.
friendly amendment to my, but I had the substitute motion. She had the original motion.
I think you can you do a friendly to the
Oh, okay,
substitute?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I accept. I accept.
Okay, very well. The substitute motion on the floor is for 2 candidates. The one, Mayor Pro Tem's candidate.
Erica Ponder.
And Councilmember Jurinski's candidate that she's put forward. Discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. So to the clerk, I guess going forward, can we get the folks who don't get recommended by staff as well, just so that we always have that information?
Yes,
Cases
we
that
were
happen.
providing it, and I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what happened to this one. I can clarify that later with you guys, but yes, we will definitely put all of the applications in there for you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 19A. Well, I'm sorry, 19B.
Mayor Kaufman?
Okay.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes unanimously to appoint Devin Austin and Erica Ponder to the Human Relation Commission.
Clerk, now please read the title to item 19C.
Item 19C is consideration to appoint 2 members and reappoint 1 member to the Veterans Affairs Commission.
Motion.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
motion to appoint Dwayne Davis, Julie Hogan, and reappoint Ralph Sharplip.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Gardner. Discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Combs.
So I support this, but I am wondering, is it true of all of the items today that we don't have all of the applications included in the backup? Or were these all of the applications that were received?
I believe these are all of the applications that were considered for appointment by the Veterans Affairs Commission.
Further discussion on 19C? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 19C. Call for the question on 19C.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes unanimously to approve item 19C.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 19D.
Item 19D is consideration to reappoint 3 members to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Mayor.
Councilmember Combs.
Move to reappoint Elizabeth Hamilton, Gordon Tucker, and Lynn Evans to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Moved by Councilmember Combs, seconded by
Marcano?
Councilmember Zvonek. Discussion?
No, sir, that was Marcano.
Oh, Councilmember Marcano. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, question before us is the adoption of item number 19C. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes unanimously to approve item 19D.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 19D?
Item 19E is consideration of consent to release the recording of March 14th, 2022 executive session pertaining to the censure of Danielle Drinsky, such release being limited to release to the district court for an in-camera review by the court under the Colorado Open Meetings Law for determination as to whether such release is required, and such release including a limited...
Katie, I don't think we did 19D.
Yes, we did.
Oh, we did?
Yep.
Ouch, I'm in trouble. 19, I'm sorry. Please read the title to item number 19E.
Colorado Open Meeting Law for a determination as to whether such release is required, and such release including a limited waiver of the attorney-client privilege solely for the purpose of the court's in-camera review and for no other purpose.
This requires action. Motion?
Mayor Jurenski.
Councilmember Jurenski. Councilmember Jurenski.
I would like to motion to move forward 19E.
It's been moved by Councilmember Drinsky, seconded by
Marcano?
Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 19E. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Combs.
Just, I think that it's important, given the question as to whether or not we were in violation of the open meetings law, that we provide that information so that it can be reviewed for a determination on that matter.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Jurenski.
One point of clarity that I would like to make is if we were in violation of an open meeting law, that means we, and this has turned into something solely about me. So I absolutely would like a judge to review this. And if we were in violation, then our city attorney's office will have to deal with that.
Let me bring, I failed to bring staff forward. For a brief presentation. And the ability for staff, the council members to ask questions. Is staff present?
Say Mayor, call for the question.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dave Lathers with the City Attorney's Office.
Questions to staff? No. Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Further discussion? There was a motion was taken. And a second. And a second was taken. So, discussion? Seeing no further discussion, question before us, with the adoption of item number 19E. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
The item passes unanimously for item 19E.
Reports. Mayor has no report. Councilmember Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor and I, we were at the Aurora Scholars for 2 days, so we really enjoyed giving out the medals, and the mayor was taking a lot of the pictures. So we really want to say congratulations to all those scholars that were there. It was a great event on both nights. The Pfizer Committee, the city submitted 2 projects to be considered for congressionally directed spending. One is for water line replacement, and the other is an improvement to the MLK Library. Staff provided a tour and briefing last week with Senator Hickenlooper's district director on both projects. The Senate is submitting proposal to the Appropriations Committee this week with plans to mark up their bill in late June. The House plans to mark up their bill in early June, and Representative Crow has submitted both of the city's projects to the Appropriations Committee. Representative Crow visited the SDBC last week for a tour and discussion of the partnership with the A&D Works and apprenticeship programs throughout the city. The legislative session ends May 11th. There are still several major bills working their way through the process, so it will be a very busy final days for legislators and for the Pfizer Committee and for the city. So thank you.
Councilmember Gardner.
No report.
Councilmember Zvonek.
Yeah, so first I just want to acknowledge this past week, council members Gardner, Lawson, and Drinsky and I held our town hall at Heather Gardens. Great presentation from Greg Hayes on the budget process. Everybody's thrilled when Greg gives the presentation. He might be the only person that can make the city budget fun and exciting to talk about. I did want to point out that this Thursday at the Public Safety meeting, committee meeting at 8:30 in the morning, we're going to be receiving an update on the transcription backlog. We're also going to be reviewing the metrics that we're going to be using to measure progress made toward the Aurora Action Plan, which is our crime reduction plan. And at the following month, because we couldn't get it on in time for this month, we are going to be discussing at the public safety meeting in light of the seemingly endless increase in car thefts, we're going to be looking at and exploring ways to make Aurora the most punitive city to steal cars in the state. Our residents have reached out to us a number of times letting us know that this is a significant issue, and so we're going to be addressing it at public safety, and I've been working with staff to look at any and all options to ensure that we do that. We're also looking at, along the same lines of car theft, helping those who've had their car stolen and then their car impounded and then having to pay that fee, ways that we can not re-victimize victims in our city who've had their car stolen. So I would encourage everybody to tune in both this month, which is this Thursday, and then the following month to hear about auto theft. That's all I have.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Yes. I would like to report that this morning, actually at 1:58 in the morning, police officers from District 1 and District 2 responded to multiple reports of a female threatening to jump off of the overpass at this location. A sergeant and 2 officers located the female, who had a rope tied around her neck, and it was tied to the guardrail. Additionally, she had armed herself with a box cutter. The officers were able to distract the female while the sergeant safely took her to the ground with no injuries to any parties. The female was transported to the hospital. And during this time, the interstate was closed in both directions for approximately 5 minutes. This was excellent work by everyone involved to safely and professionally handle this extremely volatile situation. So I just wanted to highlight that and thank those officers involved. And lastly, I would like to report I still do not own a business in Denver.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thanks, Mayor. I wanted to first just thank the students from Aurora Central who came to speak today. I've been connecting with this class. They did a research project. They surveyed their families, their community members in the school. I think they asked input from teachers and administrators as well for impact on issues that are important to them. So they really started with the issues that they cared about, and then they did some research. They did research on, the city's affordable housing plan. I let them know that we did have a plan. And they did a bunch of, just really was really proud of them to see all the work and effort that they did all the way to coming to speak at an Aurora City Council meeting. So congratulations to them for their hard work, and I'm glad that they decided to participate. I know that that's not always an easy process, so wanted to start off with sending my thanks and appreciation to them for their hard work. And then last, just announcing my May Town Hall. It is going to be Thursday, May 26th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the MLK Library, and this is going to be our budget town hall meeting. So we'll have a presentation to talk a little bit more about our budget for the upcoming year. So thank you.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Thank you, Mayor. The 19th, Thursday, 6:30 p.m., Central Rec Center Town Hall panel discussion on the pros and cons of metro districts. Our state, I hear, needs $175,000 homes to bring us within a healthy ratio of supply and demand. So how are we going to get there? Is it going to be metro districts? We're going to add taxes to new homes, built in the price, raise taxes across the city. We got 4 of the best minds against in 4 metro districts, duking it out on Thursday. Don't miss it. That's the 19th. Ward 2 is continuously exciting with all of the development. It's hard to keep up at times. Some contentious apartment complex issues. Water, whether it's the Cherry Creek Water Quality Basin or water for Aurora, there's a topic and issue of eliminating phosphorus from fertilizers. Maybe you didn't know that, but you'll hear more about it. Our own Parks and Recreation Department does not use phosphorus, and maybe you didn't know that. I'd like to make a public statement, aside from those announcements, in that December of last year, I found myself in a nervous and challenging situation in which I blurted out a joke or a story which was about a prank I pulled on a friend of mine. Upon completing that, I realized it was an inappropriate thing to say. I do genuinely care about other people and how I treat them. So I am meeting with a couple of staff tomorrow to apologize, have a crucial conversation about that, and move on with important city business, such as fixing our neighborhood roads, which have been in disrepair for such a long time, and improving public safety. Thank you.
Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little bit at my town hall last Wednesday. Greg Hayes was there as well to do the city budget, and I think he answered a lot of good questions that community members had there. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next Ward 4 meeting is going to be at Millie's Cafe in Elevation Church. So we're going to be taking a little field trip outside of Ward 4. The church is located at 15600 East Alameda Parkway, 80012. So that's just kitty corner to the Municipal Center. We're going to be discussing permanent supportive housing with Wanda Harrison, who's the Director of Resident Services at Providence at the Heights, and Pastor Scott Bloyer of Elevation Christian Church. So this is going to be an in-person meeting, and I'm going to do my best to provide y'all a live stream on Facebook Live. Depends on the Wi-Fi capabilities there and the health of my own Surface, but I'll do the best I can with that. This should be a really educational conversation, and I strongly encourage residents from all over the city to attend this, as well as my colleagues. So hope to see you all there.
Councilmember Coombs.
Thank you, Mayor. I have my Aurora, or my Ward 5 Town Hall, my Tuesday Town Hall on the 17th, and that will be our budget presentation. And then I also have my quarterly Saturday Town Hall for the second quarter, which will be on Saturday, the 21st at 10 a.m. at Mission Viejo Library, and we will receive a presentation about historic preservation, as well as a discussion of Mission Viejo's historic designation from our commission and from our staff serving that commission. I also wanted to share that I had the pleasure and opportunity to attend the AAPI Asian American and Pacific Islander Festival put on by the students of Smoky Hill High School on Wednesday, which was a great opportunity. I got to speak with and meet the students, and they had a really wonderful turnout. And many thanks to our Office of Immigrant and International Affairs for supporting that event as well. And I also was really pleased to attend the graduation for CCA on Saturday with the mayor and councilmember Marcano, where we had a record number of concurrent enrollment students graduating. So those are students who are in high school and earning their associate's degree. That's my report. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. A lot happening in the last few weeks. I had, and I won't go through in detail, but had E470 Roadway Committee, the AEDC Executive Board meeting, ARDA meeting, and Mile High Flood District. Also on Wednesday, with some of my colleagues, I toured the Springs Rescue Mission, which was a very interesting tour just about how to serve the homeless population, and it was very impressive, their operation. And then on Thursday, I actually gave the welcome remarks for the Sister Cities winter celebration, and we had food from Costa Rica, El Salvador, Ethiopia, and South Korea, and then a silent auction. I did not win. I think Councilmember Gardner maybe won something. Yeah, and so I attended that because the mayor was doing the Aurora Scholars during the same time. And then lastly, my town hall is on May 18th from 6 to 8. And again, I mentioned this last time, we will have Visit Aurora do a presentation, and then Captain Moody from our police department will also do a presentation on just statistics and what we're doing to fight crime. So thank you.
Meeting adjourned.